In this video, I want to talk about one single word, and it's a word that we hear throughout all of our lives, but I don't think that we quite understand what it means. And that word is freedom. Now, I want you to pause this video for a second and answer this simple question. What is freedom? You know, I've been really thinking about this question lately. And I think in the United States, when you really boil it down, we define freedom as money, power, and abundance. And the more you have of each, the more free you are. But I don't think that this is what freedom is. And I think these things can actually just take away from your freedom. And if you want to see proof of that, go for a walk at 2 p.m. on a Monday, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Not a single soul to be found. And is this what freedom looks like? So if freedom isn't money, power, and abundance, what is it? And how can I achieve it? Well, the more I thought about this question, the more I realized I needed to rework this question. Instead of asking, what is freedom? I needed to ask, who is freedom? If I were to personify freedom, how would freedom act? What would freedom believe? Who would this character of freedom be? And that's the key, I think, to understanding freedom, by personifying freedom. So in this video, I want to personify freedom and try to understand who this character, who this person of freedom is. And in doing so, I think that we can achieve freedom simply by acting more like this character of freedom. So in this video, I want to talk about 8 ideas that personify freedom. Number 1, society is a bully, and freedom is the only one bold enough to stand up and fight back. There's a song by the band of Monsters and Men called Wolves Without Teeth. Now, think about that metaphor, wolves without teeth. Wolves are very dangerous animals. They can run fast, they have sharp teeth, and they're vicious, but take away their teeth, and they can't really do that much to you. They can't really harm you. And the band described that metaphor as running away from something that can't harm you. When you really think about it, society is a bully. Society pushes us around with debt, jobs, and beliefs. And like most bullies in the world, most people will never stand up to them because bullies are scary. But when you do stand up to a bully, you realize that bullies are just wolves without teeth. They're not going to harm you. They're just all talk. And unlike the average person, freedom knows that society is just a wolf without teeth, and freedom is bold and will stand up to freedom and fight back while everyone else is sitting down with their tail between their legs. Freedom isn't scared because freedom knows that society is just a wolf without teeth. Number 2, freedom's best friend is risk, and they ride together. When I was thinking about this character of freedom, I was thinking, who does freedom hang out with? Who is freedom's best friend? And the answer is so obvious. Freedom's best friend is risk. It's impossible to get to know freedom without getting to know risk. They're always together. Risk is what makes freedom so scary. Risk is what makes freedom so desirable. And that's why freedom's best friend is risk. Freedom doesn't just want anyone around. And that's why freedom always keeps risk around, to scare away the crowd. If you want to get to know freedom, you also have to get to know risk because they ride together. Number 3, freedom is dangerous. And that's what makes freedom so attractive. So what would freedom's personality be like? Well, freedom has a dangerous, fearless personality, and that personality is what makes freedom so attractive. Everybody in this world wants freedom. People die for it. People will give up the best years of their life saving for it, but many people won't get freedom because freedom is dangerous. Freedom is terrifying. Freedom is unpredictable. I heard this quote the other day by Duke Ellington where he said, "Art is dangerous. It's one of the attractions. When it ceases to be dangerous, you don't want it." It's the same with this character of freedom. The second freedom stops being dangerous, it's no longer attractive, and freedom knows that. So freedom stays dangerous. You never know what to expect from freedom. And if you want to hang with freedom, you got to embrace its personality because that's what makes it so fun and exciting. Number 4, freedom never behaves. What about freedom's behavior? How would freedom act? You know, one person that's really been inspiring me the last few months is Dave Chappelle and how much he's been standing up for artistic expression through his rhetoric and through his actions. And Dave Chappelle will go down as one of the greatest stand-up comedians of our time. And that's because Dave Chappelle never behaves. He doesn't seek approval from others, and he does what he thinks right, not what he thinks that everyone else thinks is right. And it's the same with freedom. Freedom never behaves. Freedom doesn't seek approval. Freedom doesn't care what other people think. But freedom is not evil. Freedom is just right. And freedom stands up for what is right. As I said before, society is a bully. And society pushes us around with its tools of money, power, and abundance to try to get us to behave. And given these shiny tools, most people behave. But freedom doesn't, because freedom is a fighter. And freedom will always stand up for what is right. Number 5, freedom is natural and only sees the natural. So we have this character of freedom that I'm trying to personify. Now, how does freedom interpret the world? What does freedom see? I think that freedom is so natural that freedom only sees the natural, and freedom doesn't associate itself with the artificial things like money, power, and abundance, because freedom is far more superior than that. Freedom only sees what is natural. Now let me stop personifying freedom for 1 second. I think that freedom exists in all of us, but freedom lies dormant, wanting to get out and show us what it's capable of. But as humans, we're limited to our understanding, and we see advertisements of people trying to sell freedom, and then we confuse that with actual freedom. And the more I try to personify freedom, the more that I think that it's not a thing, but a feeling. And freedom is just a natural thing that exists in all of us. Number 6, freedom only lives in the present. So what does freedom focus on? Well, I don't think that freedom lives in the past or in the future, because if you get really philosophical, ladies and gentlemen, those places don't exist. I think that freedom only lives in the present, because freedom knows that's the only time that exists. Freedom lives in the here and now, making the most out of each moment, because freedom knows that the present is the only thing that really exists. Number 7, freedom ain't gonna meet you halfway. And that's my personification of freedom. Now, how can I meet this character of freedom to hang out with freedom? Can I take steps to mediate risk and freedom will meet me halfway? No. Freedom is perfectly happy without you. Freedom doesn't need you. Freedom plays hard to get, ladies and gentlemen. Freedom's just off doing its own thing. And if you want to meet freedom, you gotta march a long journey to meet freedom, because freedom ain't gonna meet you halfway. And on that journey, you should expect to meet freedom's best friend, risk. Number 8, freedom is perfect, but humans are not. You know, as humans, we are limited to what we can understand in this world because we're imperfect beings, limited with our emotions, experiences, and beliefs. And freedom is perfect. And as humans, we cannot understand perfection. But after trying to personify freedom, I realized that freedom is not money or power or abundance. Freedom is simply freedom. Freedom ain't trying to be anything but freedom. The reason that I wanted to make this video is because in my journey of life right now, I'm coming to realize that what I'm after is not money or power or abundance. It's about that one single word, freedom, and understanding it. I'm not a perfect person. I have my own faults, my own fears, and my own insecurities. But I'm taking steps every day to try to understand freedom and become more like this character of freedom, because freedom is my hero. And freedom inspires me to live my life. And freedom seems like a pretty cool dude. So thanks for watching. Muchas gracias. Que tengan un buen día. Nos vemos, chico.